This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Want to teach your kids financial literacy, but not sure where to start? Greenlight can help. With Greenlight, parents can keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens use a card of their own to build money confidence. As a parent, you can send instant money transfers, set up chores, automate allowance, and more. It's a convenient way to run your household, customized to your family's needs, and the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Get started with Greenlight today and get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. Mark from Rams Up here, episode 496 of Rams Up. Going to get into some news and notes across the NFL and specifically for our Los Angeles Rams as we head into that first preseason game with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll have another drop before the game. For episode 396, I talked about a Ram who wore number 96. That was that lovable defensive end, James Hall. For episode 496, man, it's getting tough. There aren't a lot of guys who wore that number. In fact, the first player to wear that number was only in 1982. No one before 1982 wore that number, and it probably had something to do with roster expansion. So I'm only guessing here. But the first guy to wear number 96 in 1982 was a fellow by the name of Doug Barnett. And not much to say about him other than he was the first, and I'll leave it at that. Let's get on to some news and notes. Now, the Rams had that joint practice with the Cowboys late in the day. We do have a little bit of information from that from my sources. I was watching a Cowboy feed and saw Jimmy G throw an interception. I also saw the newly acquired Connor McDermott getting some action against rookie Marshawn Nealand. Cowboys center Brock Hoffman and Kobe Turner got into it a little bit, not a big deal. If that was the biggest dust-up, well, both coaches have to be pretty happy. The offensive line still reportedly struggling, and that's to be expected with all the guys out. Ideally, you're missing a guy. You still have 4 starters in there. That's not the case. That's not what the Rams are dealing with. It's really a patchwork offensive line and a really good Cowboys defense. So not the best situation for this Rams offense to get in a groove or be productive. The worst news I heard was Joshua Carty, 2 for 5 on field goals. Now, it's early, a little alarming though. Man, can't wait to see him kick in the preseason game against the Cowboys. I might be covering my eyes though. Braden Fisk left the practice after getting poked in the eye. Overall, how do I feel right now? I'm not too worried about this offense. They're going to be fine. Just need to get their guys back. And the defense, from what I saw and what I've been hearing, they've been playing pretty good, performing pretty well. And that's the area I was most concerned going in. this young defense being able to step up without Aaron Donald. Man, I'm feeling really good about this unit. 5 guys up front that have been drafted in the last 2 years: Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, and Brennan Jackson. These guys could make a name for themselves, and it starts this September, that Sunday night against Detroit. Verse and Byron Young reportedly looked really good against the Cowboys, and Cam Kinchin's coming in with a big hit. That was one of the highlights of the day. And remember a few weeks ago, CJ Stroud calling Matthew Stafford one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league. Caleb Williams kind of came back with a similar comment. He was just amazed at how low, he was just amazed at where Matthew Stafford was rated in the NFL top 100 in the 40s. And he's saying, look at, man, there is maybe 1 or 2 quarterbacks better than Matthew Stafford in the NFL right now. He would put him in the top 2, the things he does as an NFL quarterback. So I'm starting to think, as someone else said on Twitter, Matthew Stafford is your favorite quarterback's favorite quarterback. Maybe it's just these young guys, Stroud and Caleb Williams, really appreciating what Matthew Stafford brings to the game. Hey, we see it, but a lot of these other experts don't. CJ, seen Stafford ranked in the teens. Just incredible. One more thing before we move on, a shout out to Ian Martinez and Paul Walia, my football gurus, who carried that Tuesday night roundtable for me, allowed me to get away for a few days. Much appreciate it. They did a great job. Check it out on the YouTube channel if you missed it. This Brandon Ayuk situation, man, every day the story seems to change. It's going to be the Browns and then the Patriots. The Steelers have a deal in the works, and no, not true. The Steelers do not. The Browns are sending Amari Cooper, and then Ayuk says he doesn't want to play for the Browns. And by the way, I don't want to play for the Patriots either. I don't know what's going on, man. I click on every Brandon Ayuk story I see, and none of them jive with each other. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm pretty darn sure he's going to get traded, and I have a feeling it's going to end up being the Browns or the Steelers, or maybe the Commanders, giving Jaden Daniels another good receiver to throw to. If it's to the Browns, we could see Amari Cooper going to the 49ers. That was one story I saw. Heard that the 49ers were also asking for 2 first-round picks. Kind of curious that Ayuk wants that money, wants out, but now he's kind of hedging and saying, I don't want to go to that team, though. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And word out of the 49ers camp is that Ricky Pearsall, his supposed eventual replacement, has been having trouble gaining separation. Hey, it's early. He's a rookie. He could end up being a great receiver, but some training camp hurdles he's having trouble getting over. Sticking to the NFC West here, it was a pretty bad look when Aaron Donald swung his helmet at a Cincinnati Bengal during joint practices. Well, DK Metcalf did the same. Took it one level worse, though, swinging at a teammate, safety Kevon Wallace. And this happened while there was a broadcasting team giving a report, and in the background you see all heck break loose, including a helmet-swinging DK Metcalf. And the NFL is getting kind of tired of this. The Lions and Giants had a couple of dust-ups. Kirby Joseph taking swings at rookie receiver Malik Neighbors. And there are some fines getting handed out across the NFL for joint practice fights. And Kirby Joseph earning quite a reputation here. He is the guy that came in low on TJ Hawkinson, and then same deal on Tyler Higbee, ending both of their seasons, and now he's throwing punches in practice with the Lions.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with Multiview, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games. Excludes digital-only games.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Nothing new on the injury front, nothing that you probably already don't know. Jonah Jackson, questionable for the opener. Rob Havenstein and Alaric Jackson also week to week, as is Puka Nacua. Won't see them for a little bit. Rams did make some moves, kind of makes sense. They had to add some offensive line depth, and I'm not convinced these are guys that have a good shot at making the roster, but they're guys that can help us out in these preseason games, keep our quarterbacks standing up, making sure that we can run a viable NFL offense, because some of these second string guys have been struggling. They added former Patriots offensive lineman Connor McDermott, 6'8", 305 pounds, pretty much limited to right tackle from what I can tell. He's out of UCLA, a 6th round pick in 2017 by the Patriots. And the skinny on him coming out in the draft was teams loved his size and athleticism. But look at those numbers, 6'8", 305. And that would suggest what these reports are saying. He lacks that core, that big bubble teams like to see in their offensive linemen. Probably going to have trouble standing his ground against power in the NFL. But he has had some starts, so he's a legitimate NFL offensive lineman. We'll probably see him in action in the preseason. They also added Alec Lindstrom, a 6'3", 300-pound center out of Boston College. Spent some time on the Cowboys practice squad, was just cut by the Memphis Showboats. His brother plays for the Falcons. You know, being cut by the Showboats and signed by the Rams, that could have been a negotiated deal. I'm not sure. We've seen this before. He wants to go play for the Rams, so they simply cut him, and maybe some other transaction going on, not sure. And they also added offensive lineman Matt Caskey, a tackle, 6'7", 325 pounds, out of Dartmouth. He was originally signed by the Rams back in 2019 as an undrafted free agent. Spent some time on active rosters and practice squads with the Panthers and Chargers. And to make room for these guys, the Rams have waived tight end Neil Johnson and safety Kenny Logan Jr., both undrafted free agents. So obviously some concern here along the offensive line. I think we're going to be okay on opening day. We may be down Jonah Jackson. This is more about, like I said, fielding a viable offensive line over these 3 preseason games. But maybe one of these guys can emerge and make this roster, improve the Rams' depth along the offensive line, because that is one area we have to be a little bit concerned. And we'll talk more about the offensive line and every position group, actually, in depth about this first release of the Rams depth chart, unofficial depth chart. I don't quite understand how a team can release a depth chart and call it unofficial, but that's what they're calling it. We'll get into that in a minute. So let's review this unofficial depth chart, as they call it. Pulling this right from their website, as was shared everywhere else on social media. Right from the top, wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, Jordan Whittington, and Sam Wiglu's 1, 2, 3 on the top line. No surprise there. Now, the way they presented this, there is no fourth column. You get to the third string and they list 3 guys in order, and I'm assuming that's the order, or are they all 3 even? Not sure how much it matters, but that's what I'm seeing. Tight end, Colby Parkinson ahead of Davis Allen, and on the third line, Hunter Long, Miller Forrestall, and Nikola Kalanick. So I am taking that as Hunter Long is ahead of Forrestall and Kalanick, which is what I would be expecting. Left tackle, Alaric Jackson, followed by Joseph Noteboom, and in the third column, in order, A.J. Akuri, K.T. Leviston, and Blake Larson. And this is probably the first example of where I think the Rams in the early going here are deferring to seniority. In some cases on the depth chart, Akuri ahead of Leviston would be one possible instance. Hey, or maybe they see Akuri as the better player at this point. Left guard, Jonah Jackson, backed up by Logan Bruss. So the tackle experiment perhaps has ended. Man, wouldn't it be something if he turned into a viable option as a backup guard? And after Bruss, Grant Miller. Center, Steve Avila, Mike McAllister, and Bo Limmer. And worth noting at this point that the 3 new acquisitions are not listed here and would probably bump some of these guys. And I would think Bo Limmer might eventually be ahead of Mike McAllister. Again, it's a seniority thing, showing respect to the guys that were around last year. Or maybe it's just a reflection of the fact that rookies just aren't ready. Mike McAllister actually might be, though. Right guard, Kevin Dotson, Zach Thomas, and Justin Dedich. That might be our weakest backup group right there. Of course, some of these interior offensive linemen can bounce around. And right tackle, Rob Havenstein. Joseph Noteboom shows up a second time. He's the backup left and right tackle, followed by Warren McClendon. Now remember the newly acquired guys, Alec Lindstrom. He'd likely show up as a third string center at this point. Connor McDermott, a backup right tackle, and Matt Caskey, one of the tackle positions as well. Next up, the other 2 wide receiver spots. Demarcus Robinson backed up by Tutu Atwell and Xavier Smith. And then Puka Nacua backed up by Tyler Johnson and Drake Stoops. No surprises there. And quarterback, Matthew Stafford, Jimmy G, and then Stetson Bennett, followed by Dresser Wynn. Running backs, Kyron Williams is a starter. Blake Corum is indeed listed as second string. Then we have Ronnie Rivers, Boston Scott, and Zach Evans. Defense is where it gets a little weird. They do not list a defensive end. They have nose tackles. Bobby Brown, backed up by Laurel Murchison and Corey Durden. And they have a defensive tackle, Kobe Turner, backed up by Braden Fisk. And then 5 guys, Tyler Davis, Deshaun Johnson, Tuli Letuligasenoa, Anthony Goodlow, and David Olajiga. He is the international player. No defensive end, which is where I thought Deshaun Johnson would emerge. So make what you want of that. In all likelihood, wouldn't Bobby Brown, Kobe Turner, and Braden Fisk be starting? I don't know what they did here. I may need Ian and Paul to chime in on here. Rams trying to send a message to their players, perhaps? You got me. Got 2 outside linebacker positions. The first one, Byron Young, backed up by Nick Hampton, followed by Brennan Jackson, Keir Thomas, and Zach Van Valkenburg. What a competitive group that is. Wondering if Brennan Jackson can leapfrog, beat out Nick Hampton for the number 2 spot. Keir Thomas, we always overlook him. He is listed as, if I'm interpreting this correctly, the 4th string outside linebacker on one side, and on the other side, Jared Verse, Michael Hoyt, and there's Brennan Jackson again, as well as O'Shawn Mathis. There's really a lot of talent here, just not a lot of proven talent. Guys that we know can be productive on an NFL field. A lot of potential, though. Inside linebacker, we got 2 spots there as well. Ernest Jones, backed up by Jacob Hummel, and then Omar Spates and Elias Neal. In the other spot, Christian Roseboom, backed up by Troy Reeder, and then Olakunle Fatukasi, who Paul Wally has alerted me has been playing very well in camp. Really has a chance of making this team. Might have to beat out Spates and Troy Reeder for that to happen, though. Cornerback. First cornerback, Darius Williams and Kobe Durant are listed together. Make what you want of that. Dead even. It's a dead heat for the number one cornerback spot, backed up by Jerry Jacobs, so he's really a third string, right? And then Sean Jolly and Cameron McCutcheon listed on the third line. And the other cornerback position, Tre'Davious White, also paired up with Kobe Durant. So maybe this is just an injury situation. If one of them can't go, it's definitely going to be Kobe Durant, apparently at this point. White and Durant at the second cornerback spot are backed up by Trey Tomlinson, and then Josh Wallace and Cam Lampkin. And then we haven't talked about nickel yet, and this is where it gets really interesting. Finally getting an idea of what the Rams are thinking here. The starting nickel, Quentin Lake, backed up by Russ Yeast, and then the undrafted free agent Charles Woods that we hear has been lighting it up, trying to make a push for a roster spot here. And then starting safety one, Cameron Curl, backed up by the rookie Cameron Kitchens, and then Jalen McCullough. And the other safety spot, John Johnson, backed up by Jason Taylor and Tanner Engel. Special teams, punter Ethan Evans, kicker Joshua Carty listed ahead of Tanner Brown, the holder Ethan Evans, of course, a long snapper award. The punt returner and the kick returner both listed as Tutu Atwell. So the round table and I were maybe missing the mark a little bit as far as the punt returns go. We thought it would be Boston Scott. That could still happen. He is listed as a second string punt returner and kick returner. So a couple takes on this. Now, the most interesting part of this for me is how they are deploying these safety cornerback hybrid players. Quentin Lake, now a nickel, at least on paper. And it suddenly makes us a little thin at safety. Of course, the Rams can flex, right? Russ Yeast and Quentin Lake can both play safety. And that is what's great about having these guys, the flexibility they provide. So that leads to the question, what happens to guys like Jason Taylor, Jalen McCullough, and Tanner Engel? Are we going to carry three safeties, knowing that two of our nickel guys, Lake and Yeast, can in the blink of an eye bounce over to the safety spot, and that gives you the ability to carry an extra cornerback if the answer to that question is yes. Now, I don't know how much we're going to learn with regards to this depth chart from the preseason game, but it'll be interesting how some of these position groups evolve, especially the secondary, see which backup offensive linemen emerge and look like they have a real shot at helping this team if injuries come to pass with that unit. What happens with the secondary group? Does someone push Troy Reeder or Jacob Hummel for a roster spot? Lots of questions to answer over these next 3 weeks for our Los Angeles Rams. We may not have another drop before the Cowboy game. We will likely have a YouTube video, though, a little preview on the YouTube channel, so check that out. And hopefully a game summary, a game recap Sunday night after the game. So please be on the lookout for that. And we have a couple of more Ram fan rap sessions lined up coming at you over the next couple of weeks. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.
I'm Victoria Cash. Thanks for calling the Lucky Land Hotline. If you feel like you do the same thing every day, press 1. If you're ready to have some serious fun for the chance to redeem some serious prizes, press 2. We heard you loud and clear. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com right now and play over 100 social casino-style games for free. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.